All right, here we go. The prerequisites for this course are reading and writing placement at English 101 or completion of all reading and writing developmental requirements. I assume that you're good with that or you wouldn't be in the class. Okay, moving on. Your textbook I'll talk about in a minute. Attendance and exams. I expect that students will attend all class meetings if they are able. If you know in advance that you are not going to be able to be in class on the day that we have an exam, if you know in advance, let me know in advance, and we will work out a way that you can take it in the testing center or some other method separately, either early or late or whatever is appropriate to that situation. Okay, so letting me know is usually the best way to deal with such situations. If you have an emergency, obviously, and miss a test, then we'll talk about it afterward and see if it's excused and try to set you up with a makeup test there. We do have quizzes, which are generally in most of my classes related to videos and movies that we watch. Those are more attendance oriented, so you can't make up a quiz. Under an extreme emergency, I might consider some kind of a makeup assignment, but that is a very rare thing on a very case-by-case basis. The quizzes are more designed, A, to get you to come to class because you don't know what day we're going to have them, and B, so that you'll hopefully pay a little more attention and not be, on your phone and stuff, but actually be paying attention because the questions on the quiz should be pretty easy if you're in the room and paying any attention at all to the video. If you're not in class that day, obviously you get a 0 on the quiz, and if you're there but not really paying attention, it's going to be hard to make a very good grade on the quiz. So those are the two quizzes. Otherwise, it's a case-by-case to come and talk to me. The papers, we'll get to the writing assignment live in just a minute for your particular class. But in terms of when it's due, papers are due early or on time. You can email a paper to me in an emergency to beat the deadline, but you still have to turn a paper copy into me at some point before the end of the semester so that I can actually have it to grade, because I can't print them myself and I can't grade electronic papers. I need you to give me a paper copy for me to grade. If a paper is not turned in either electronically or in person, but by the end of the day that the paper is due, you lose a letter grade on the paper. You then have until the next time the class meets to get that paper turned in to me. After the next time the class is met, if you still haven't turned the paper in, the grade for it becomes a 0. This is not good because if your class has just one paper, that's 2 whole letter grades on your final grade that you will drop. You could have an A on every exam, but if you don't do the paper, the best you can get in the class is a C. If you have 2 papers, then that's 1 letter grade, obviously. So by all means, do your writing assignment or writing assignments and get them in earlier on time. Also, I note that I've never yet lost anybody's paper, but I always hold out the possibility that that could happen, right? And if that ever happens, if my car gets hit by a bus or something and I live but your paper gets destroyed, you'll need to turn in a new paper to me. So if you have a copy electronically or on paper stashed away, then you can just give that to me. If you didn't keep a copy, you just wrote the paper, printed it out, turned it in and deleted it and emptied your trash can, you're going to have to write the paper over again, and nobody wants that. So retain a copy until you get your graded paper back from me, just to keep on the safe side. I have a plagiarism section here, which is just saying don't plagiarize. Plagiarize is putting something in your paper that you act like you came up with it entirely, but you actually got it from somewhere else, either by typing it down as you look at it or by copy and pasting in today's world. Plagiarism is stealing, and it's very bad, and it's looked very badly upon in academia and in everywhere. So what you want to do is you do want to use source material, and you do want to have direct quotes, but just put quotation marks around it. And at the end of that quote, or at the end of that section where you're using somebody else's information or ideas, cite it. Put a footnote, a parenthetical note, an endnote, some kind of note that says where you got it from. Now that may be in the style of saying, Well, when you cite it the first time, you would say, like, if you're talking about Napoleon, at the end, you might say, and then Napoleon was once said by author Neil Sham as, quote, one of the greatest conquerors of all time, period, unquote. And then say, bing, Sham, comma, Neil, Napoleon, the biography, Random House, 2012. Now, the first time you would cite it, you'd say all that, and maybe a page number if it came from a book that has a page number. The next time you cite that same source, just say Sham, comma, page 13, and then Sham, comma, page 14 if you cite those pages. That's in the body of the paper itself. Then on your sources page at the end, you're going to have a sources page. Some people call it a bibliography or a sources consulted or a works cited page. Whatever you want to call it is fine. But on that page, you'd list the entire entry once. You'd say Sham, comma, Neil, Napoleon, the biography, New York, Random House, 2012, right? And one entry for each item. Like if you then use an encyclopedia, then Napoleon, World Book, 2017. So you cite something each time you use it, and then you cite it once at the end in your sources page, your works cited page, whatever you want to call it. Okay. We can talk more about that, and you can ask me questions about it if you'd like to. Let's see. But don't plagiarize, and also don't use Wikipedia as an academic source in your papers. You can go to Wikipedia. I can't tackle you on your way to the computer and say, no, don't look at Wikipedia, look away. I can't do that. That would be strange. But what I can do is say don't cite it as one of your official sources, because the problem is that that's the great strength and weakness of Wikipedia. It's a strength and a weakness that anybody can go in and edit it at any time and just change it to say whatever you want it to say, which means that there's not really on-the-fly constant curating. They do have people that kind of go behind and check pages every so often to make sure that they're not tampered with, but the quality of the information is only as good as whatever the last person changed it to. So don't use Wikipedia as an academic source. Class notes. As I say here, having all the notes and outlines for this course, in addition to the required reading in preparation for the exams, is the responsibility of each student. What I'm saying is, if you miss a class, there are several options you have. One option is to check with somebody else in the class, because they probably have written down or copied or printed out or something the outline that I had up on PowerPoint, and they may also have written down things I said in addition, or things I wrote on the dry erase board in addition. I don't really keep those. I don't have a record of those. So if you come to me and say I need to know what we did yesterday, my information is not probably going to be as complete that I can just hand over to you as what a student actually in the room writing stuff down. So that's your first good option. Your second option, if it's an emergency, you can come to me. Students will often email me and ask me, but the problem there is they won't always give me all the information I need. So for example, students will email me and say, hey, this is Joe. What did we do last Tuesday? Well, Joe who? You may not have even given me your last name. What class, what section, what time, what day was it? And what's really helpful is telling me where you left off, right? Like if we were talking about Napoleon's conquests, and the last thing you have is the Battle of Austerlitz. Okay, tell me that, and I'll say, oh, you need the stuff for about a day's worth after the Battle of Austerlitz, and then I can copy that and send it to you. I don't like to do that a lot of the time. That's kind of an emergency thing, because I'd be spending my whole, office hours every day emailing people stuff I already covered in class. But if you have an emergency and you can't get it from somebody else, you can check with me. Now, some of you who were maybe my past students know I've generally had some classes, the outlines on my website. But there was a disaster over Christmas of 2017, and that folder got erased permanently, and I can't find a copy on my own computer of it. So at least for right now, the outlines I used to provide, which were just very basic bullet point skeleton outlines, you couldn't pass the class with only that, I don't think. Those are missing. I'm going to try to restore them, and I'll try to put them maybe on Blackboard for each class. I'm going to work on that in the days to come, but I make no guarantees. I may have to do the whole thing over again. I don't know how long it'll take. So we'll see, but I'm going to work on that. In the meantime, try to come to class and get it yourself. If you can't, your second choice is probably get it from another student. Your third option is come to me and let me know exactly what you're missing, okay? General classroom etiquette is let's just behave in a professional adult fashion. Try not to distract each other. Try not to distract me. Try not to be on your phone texting and doing stuff or on your computer playing around. You want to be present in the class and paying attention because theoretically you're either paying for this or borrowing money to do this or getting a scholarship to do this. Somebody's paying for it, so you might as well take advantage of it and not tune out or be distracted. And plus, when I see that you're off in Never Never Land right in front of me, that distracts me too because it throws me for a loop, and that affects the quality of everybody's experience in the class. So let's all try to be paying attention. Don't be wandering around the room constantly. I have students that do that. I don't know why. They just all of a sudden have to throw this thing away. Okay, in the middle of class, in the middle of going over the syllabus or something. So let's just be in a professional manner, and that should work out well for everybody. In an emergency, of course, just go outside the classroom and take care of your business, and if you can come back afterward, that'd be fine. If you have to go do something, that's fine too. I will understand. You don't have to interrupt class to let me know you're having an emergency. Just go and take care of it. It'll be fine. None of us are able to post grades publicly, and we are not supposed to email grades to you. So if you emailed me and said, hey, what did I get on this test or on the final, we are not supposed to be able to tell you that because we don't know for sure who's seeing your email, and it's about protecting your privacy. It's not about us. It's that we don't want to be handing out your personal private grade information to anybody that happens to have an email address that sounds like your name, or somebody might have your address. So I'm working again. Blackboard is new to me, but I'm working on that. In the meantime, you can always come to me. I can show you what I have. You should have your own grades recorded as I give them back to you anyway, but I'm happy to go over them. I'll get the calculator out and figure out where you stand at any moment that you want to in the class. That's perfectly fine before or after class or during office hours. Always happy to do that. But I give exams, papers, and things back as soon as possible so that you should be able to figure it out for yourself by just adding up all your grades together and dividing by the total number that was possible. So if 700 points have been done so far and you have 700 points, you've got 100, right? Just divide 700 by 700, that's 1.00, you got 100. Let's see what else we need to talk about. Never be afraid to speak up during class, ask questions. We'll try to have discussion and conversation in all my classes. Try not to hog the, overdo it too much, but certainly participate. I welcome that. If you encounter a problem in one of my classes, please let me know, and we will get together and try to resolve it. Never had a problem really with working things out with students that have an issue and need to talk about it. We have a Student Success Center on both the Redbud and Belleville, and I'm sure Granite City campuses too, that provides programs to help students perform well in class. And we have a Special Services Center Special Services Center in, I believe, the Information Services Building on the Belleville campus to help students who have special needs. We also now have a wellness advocate, a clinical social worker trained to help you with non-academic issues and problems in your life and help you be a better student and help you, to carry on. And that is Amy Plexico. And you can go to the liberal arts main office area, which is the same area where my office is, on the second floor of the liberal arts building in Belleville, and just ask the secretary if you can see the wellness advocate, Amy Plexico. She is very good. I can promise she's very good because I'm married to her, and I know. Your grades, as I said, we will always go over your grades immediately after they're finished so that you know your grade immediately, but we have a grade system. The grade system differs depending on my different classes, so you can look at it on your syllabus, and I can probably talk about it after this video. The extra credit I offer in all my classes relates to the writing assignment. So if you are wanting to work for extra credit, pay attention when I talk live in a minute about the writing assignment for this class, and I will include information about extra credit. Most of my courses are divided into 4 quarters or 4 segments. The American Government class in political science is different, but most of them are 4 quarters. But in every class, the exam at the end of that segment only covers the material from that segment. So the final exam only covers the material from the final segment of the course. Nothing is comprehensive in any of my classes. There's an emergency closure statement the college wanted us to put on there related to like snow days. You can look at that. There's an academic rigor statement saying they expect you to put in 2 hours of outside work for every hour in class, and that's a very laudable goal I hope you will strive for. And that's pretty much all the boilerplate stuff that's common to all my classes. I will now talk about class schedule and your writing assignment for this specific course. So thanks a bunch and good luck this semester.